Hi Mark, thanks for the text. It's easier to demonstrate this to you visually than anything else. One of the things you need to consider is that when viewed from face on, you create a lot of lag as you change direction. So there's a lot of loading of the two from P4 to P5, maybe P5.5. As a result, the club coming from the inside is going to be a little bit more of a difficult task for you to create. Now, we did say sort of short term during the session that the feeling would be to internally rotate that right elbow, and that would start to effectively load accumulator 3 as you're starting down, keeping some loft on the club and helping the club to come from the inside. The other thing you do need to consider, and I think I briefly touched on this in an email following your lesson, is that you need to consider what the butt of the club does from P4 to P5 to help you keep the club in. Guys who load accumulator 2 a lot in the transition need to work accumulator 4 differently to prevent the club from getting out in front of the hands too much and to sort of load accumulator 3 sufficiently. So if we look at what happens with yourself, this is you at the start of your very first visit. Pretty good position at P4 as we discussed. We know we're going to get a lot of down lag, but we also get, well, this relates to the head coming off the wall. The right knee flexes forward a lot. That in turn levels out the hip girdle. You can see the back of the belt dropping. That's bringing you off the wall. You can see the back of the neck dropping back. We've come out of our inclination to the ground. Now from there, what we're going to do is we're going to flex forward quite a lot through the hip. You see the head going back on the wall. Eyes going down. Neck flexing. Sort of reminiscent to what you see a little bit there of Westwood coming through the golf ball. So there's a lot of push and hook going in early. Doesn't look that way in regards to the shaft because of the amount of angle you create in the wrist coming down. There's a lot of hook and push going in early. And then there's a lot of pull and cut going in at the last minute through the hip, which is taking the loft off the club when we get a longer club. You've got Mark Ramsdale here on the right. Now Mark makes a slightly different move to you. He creates a lot of lag. He tends to flex the lower body and the upper body forward sooner than you do, so he sort of struggles to get the club inside pretty much all the way during the downswing. But one of the things we've worked a lot on is working accumulator 4 down more from the top. So we have also worked initially on internally rotating the right elbow, but we did that as a sort of initial starting point, just to change his picture and give him an understanding of the effects that has on the downswing. So it's it is a piece that can get the club on the inside. But with the amount of down lag that Mark creates, similar to yourself, we need to get accumulator 4 to work down more from P4 to P5, helping keep the club in. Now you can see this is early in the session that we started working on this. As he does the drill, so he swings to P4 and stops, works accumulator 4 down. There's very little flexing of the right knee. Then as he does the swing, there's much more flexing of the right knee, the pelvis and the right shoulder coming forward, etc. So what I'd suggest you look at is, or what I suggest you consider between now and when you visit on the 29th, I think it is the direction that the butt of the club works from P4 to P5. From P4 to P5, you need to feel that the butt of the club is working down more. So we want, or even 5.5 really, we want the butt of the club to work down more rather than out, just to help you keep the club in at 6 and help you load accumulator 3 a little bit better and then control it on the way through. Obviously we can discuss this and talk a little bit more about it when you do visit, but it's just food for thought in the transition. I know what you were saying about feeling like the arms are going to go out. If the arms go out and the shaft goes behind us too much, we could have a problem on the opposite end of the scale where the club is forever stuck behind us and we've got to flip release it on the way through. So I'd rather do this properly rather than create a look artificially, if you will. So if you have any questions when you watch this, feel free to email me. One of the things I would suggest you do is, if this is very early in the piece, this was in January when we set some baselines for Marc, if you take a little look at his last 2 recaps, I think you'll see a lot of changes that you like and that you'd like to apply to your own game, and I think it would help answer a lot of questions that you have in relation to your transition during the downswing. There's also a guy on there called Tom Dolan who hits it great, swings it very similar to yourself and Marc in regards to load and accumulate 2 in the downswing. So take a little look, digest the information and fire the questions across as you see fit. Look forward to meeting with you later in the month.